Hello, and this is Your Anime Needs. My name is Kyle, and I will be your host for this third episode of Your Anime Needs. And we're going to be talking about a little bit of the Basketball Which Kuroko Plays. Now, when I first saw this title, I'm thinking, this is going to be interesting. An anime mixed with a basketball sport, or a sport of any kind. And I thought, sounds kind of sketchy. I'll probably watch it. So I did. And it turns out to be a very, very interesting show. And I'm on episode 40 now, I think, out of 70. And again, the sources that I said from my previous show that I had hosted, the sources that I use are watchcartoonsonline.com and crunchyroll.com. I mostly use Crunchyroll now because it seems to be a lot easier, and I like to hear the Japanese language and then read the subtitles. But anyway, back to Kuroko and the show. Kuroko was a basketball player in middle school, and he was on a team known as the Generation of Miracles. They were a team to be reckoned with, and they were unstoppable, and they had a record of all the games that they have won, and they had no losses. And there were so many times that there'd be a lot of people, there'd be like, oh man, this team, we can't beat them, and it's just hopeless. So then once they graduated from middle school, they separated and they went to different high schools. And one of the characters, the main character, was a part of the Generation of Miracles, obviously, and he had the ability to pass the ball to different players and also misdirect the opponent, and his sense of presence to others was insanely low. Like, he would be in the anime, they would always be saying, well, where's Kuroko? And he would be like, I'm standing right here. And they would be like, they would jump up and they'd be scared, like, oh my gosh, you weren't there. And he's like, yeah, I've been here the whole time. So that's actually one of the funnier things that they do in the anime. And you see it a lot, and every now and then it kind of gets a little repetitive and it gets a little annoying, but each time it gets a little bit funnier because it varies with different people. But Kuroko utilizes this amazingly well, and he used to use this for Iomin, I think is how you say or pronounce his name, and he was the ace of the Generation of Miracles. And he is one heck of a ball player. A lot of people can't really catch up to him. And it was interesting to see him play, especially in the anime, because literally no one could really stop him. I quote him, the only one that can beat me is me. So then in the anime, Kuroko keeps saying, well, I want to be the Generation of Miracles too. Well, he had met someone named Kagami, and he was originally from America. And his sister school with Japan, which is the name of the school that he went to, its name is Saren. And the sister school in Los Angeles was like, yeah, sure, we can do this. We nominate Kagami. You can go over. And he was like, sweet. So before he went over there, he played a lot of street ball, and he loved playing street ball. And it doesn't tell you until later in the anime on certain things, which I'm not going to spoil at first. He played a lot of street ball, and he was pretty good. And then he went over to Japan, and it was a little overwhelming for his teammates because he had this overwhelming power and it was untapped and they could work with it, and it was amazing on how much he had developed compared to when he first started to where I'm at now. And there's so much oomph in this anime show that it gave me goosebumps multiple times. And I do recommend the show mainly because there are some good humor points, and if you like to watch sports and also like to watch anime, this is a great show for you. And it is actually relatively accurate on the basketball terms as well as how they play basketball. But the one thing that is very, very unnatural is the ability that Kuroko develops later in the anime, and it's called Vanishing Drive. What happens is he misdirects the opponent's attention, and he reads the eye movements of his opponent, and he tricks them into thinking, "Oh, I'm going to go this way," and then all of a sudden he disappears. Well, in the anime, it shows that he turns into the literal air and goes straight through his opponent, and he reappears right behind them and continues through his play. Well, people are like, "That's insane, you can't do that, that's inhuman." Well, later in the anime, I know I say that a lot, I apologize. Later in the anime, people start figuring out the strategy behind the Vanishing Drive, and it wasn't until like 6 months, I think, that people started realizing, oh, well, that's how he does it. And the more people realize that that's how he does it, then he can't use it anymore. And that's also with his ability to misdirect people, because as soon as they figure out that, oh, man, this is what he's doing, we got to get on this guy, so they eventually do. And also, Kagami, aside from Kuroko, Kagami is... He starts wondering, what am I good for? Yeah, sure, I can slam, dunk, I can be a pretty good aggressive player, but there's got to be more to me than I think. So his coach is like, well, practice more, we'll find out. So they eventually find out, and when they do find out, his entire team was amazed and awed. I don't know what that was in the background. Anyway, so Kagami later finds out that he can jump excessively high, and it becomes excessively useful for his team because he'll be able to deflect any shot that anyone wants to make, especially with one of the Generation of Miracles, well, several of them actually, the top two being Midorama, which is he is a three-pointer expert, and he can make any shot that from any angle on any point on the court, and he has proven that several times. And he starts walking back knowing that I got this. It's going to go in. But that's his first mistake on many levels, because if it doesn't make it, which rarely happens, if someone gets the rebound, then he's not going to be able to help his teammates on defense and try to get the ball to where they need it and score again. Well, Kuroko was a part of that, and he beat him to it and ended up making a basket. Ended up making a basket. So, back to Kagami again. The coach of Seren's team eventually learned that, alright, there's a certain level that Kagami has for his right leg. Where's his true strength coming from? So they find out that it's coming from his left leg, and he can jump even higher. Well, for the people that actually know how useful this is in basketball, and to tell you how high he can jump, with his right leg, he can barely get over the net, over the hoop, no problem. like barely scraping his fingers on the backboard. But when he uses his left leg, he jumps up so high that it goes past the white box on the, like, maybe about 2 or 3 inches higher than the, no, it wouldn't be 2 or 3. It would probably be close to around 4 inches above the white box on the backboard. Now, to some people, that's like, oh, well, he can jump high, big whoop. If you have someone on a basketball team that can jump that high, well, you better have a second plan going on, and you better hope that you're gonna have a better chance of faking a throw or trying to fake to make a basket and get out of the way, because you're not going to be able to get past the wall like that. But and Kagami has proven himself worthy of that, and Aomi and Kagami are eventually evenly matched in further in the anime, and Aomi would always be losing interest in the games because it's always too easy to win. Eventually, Kagami was an even match for Aomi, and finally Aomi smiles while he's playing basketball, and that's all that Kuroko wants. And I know that I'm jumping all over the place with this describing, and I do try my best on trying to describe certain things, but when this anime gets you all rattle-headed, and it's just amazing. I can't do it justice on describing. You have to watch it, and it's certainly something else. But that is unfortunately all I have for now. You can follow me on Twitter, and my address or my username is @KyleWegan1, capital K, capital W, and you can follow Zeph McLearan also on Twitter @ZMcLearan, and you can also like Your Anime Needs on Facebook, and the title for that will be Your Anime Needs. And this is a McLearan production. I hope you have enjoyed, and we will see you next time.